Okay, horse number 2. This is Oliver. He is a Friesian that was rescued by our farm owners in September, October, something like that, a couple months ago. He's kind of one of those skin and bones cases when he came to us, so we literally just picked Oliver out of the field, so please excuse his dirtiness. But we thought he might be a good one because he's a little bit of a nervous horse. He kind of goes back and forth from being perfectly relaxed to perfectly nervous. Some of you may be able to relate to that. And he's a lot bigger than Leo, so you'll get to see a little bit of a different perspective. Leo has already had some education on how to critical think a little bit, do some problem solving, figure out problems. Oliver has had very limited of that and is just starting to come into that. So gives you two perspectives at two different horses. We're going to teach it the same way. We're going to do the same exact thing. Two different minds, two different horses. We'll see what he gives at us. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take him over to the solid wall or a corner or a fence, something that eliminates some of the options for him. Same exact thing. My hand here is to limit his forward motion and to limit his shoulder going into me or away from me. The dressage whip as an extension of my hand is going to cue what part of the body that I would like to talk to, which in this case is his outside hip. Excuse me. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and ask him, right on the outside hip. If they do absolutely, good for you. What I was about to say is if they do absolutely nothing, if they just stand there, and they don't try to move their feet or figure out the problem, that's a context where you can raise the pressure a little bit incrementally. If they're moving around trying to search for the answer, stay consistent. Don't do anything different. If they just sit there and fall asleep, or they lock up or don't do anything differently, give them a moment of time to figure it out. If they don't do anything, then raise the pressure a little bit to say you have to do something. I mean, sometimes you can immediately take the pressure back down to where it was because they start moving their feet, they start trying to figure out the answer, but you need to do something to inspire them. You have to try. We have to figure out something that we can work together. You just have to put some effort in, and then we can guide you towards the answer. So right there, Oliver just stood there. He said, I'm not doing anything. So I just started to raise it just a hair. His feet broke loose and he started searching for the answer. Okay, let's ask again. Good for you. Now, even though his shoulders up here moved a lot as well, that I can worry about later. I can get more specific later. I'm just watching that hip. I'm watching his back feet. As soon as they take a step towards me and to the side, that's all I'm looking for. So that's good for him. I'm going to reset him, put him back to where he was. And ask the same thing. Up over the top, nice and high, right on the hip. Hip takes a step, I release. Go again. Hip takes a step, I release. Go again. Hip takes a step, I release. He's a lot bigger than Leo. He takes it away, so I'm going to immediately ask him again. No, come back over to me. I want them to stay there. Once they take the step and are there, I need them to stay there. If they go away, I just ask them to politely come back. Remember, we're teaching this as a mounting lesson, so they need to know as soon as they take the steps and get over here, they need to stay here. They can't go anywhere. And then when he relaxes there, pet him, good job, this is where I'd like you to be, make this a good place, make this a happy place. This is a nice relaxed place. This is a place you don't have to do anything. Horses are animals that like to find the quickest way from A to B. Right now, A is over there and B is at the mounting block. We've shown him the quickest way, and he gets to relax, and in his context, maybe eat grass. Okay, we're going to take him away, do the same thing. Right here. Good for you. Good for you, Mr. Oliver. Good job. And he sits still a lot faster. Good for him, all around. Hey, just a quick tip. Another really useful tool when teaching this, or really teaching a lot of things, is to have a nice strong head down cue with your halter. All the horses that I come in contact with that either come into the farm or come into training or I work with at clinics and such, I always tell people it's great to have a head down cue, and then I can put pressure on this lead rope and very easily he'll lower his head. This helps me control his emotions and control where he's going a lot easier. Especially a big horse like this, as soon as his emotions go up, so do his head. It goes straight to the air, and then it becomes really difficult difficult. He can get over top of me. He can come down on top of my head with his jawbone. It really hurts. So anytime that I can teach a horse to soften to the pressure that goes on the top of their pole from the halter and just go downwards, it's a really, really good thing, and it also helps a lot when teaching this mounting block lesson. So just something to think about. It's a really great tool to use. Okay, we're going to do it again. Bring him back over. He says, I don't want to go over there. I know what happens when I go over there. I just got to come back over here. Okay. All right, relax. Good. Good. Good for you, Oliver. Once they start to get the concept, I always tend to put a vocal cue on it as well. I kiss to him as I'm asking him to go. I'll start to kiss first, I'll raise up towards him, and then I'll actually touch him. I do that sequence purposefully because they're kind of pre-cues. The pre-cues can soften up the real cue. So if I ask with my voice first and then I raise up towards him and then I touch him, I've asked 3 different cues by the time I get to the real cue. That way, all the time I'm saying I'm kissing to you, that means I'm about to raise my hand, which means I'm about to touch you. But most of the time, if I can do that in sequence, they'll get it from the kiss first, and then I have something stronger to back it up later if I need to. So you can put a vocal cue on. Either you can say it verbally, come to me, mount up, whatever you want to say. For me, it's just easier to kiss to them, but whatever you want to put on it, it's great to have a vocal cue as well. Alright, we're going to do it one more time, and then we're going to stop, get up on the mounting block, and do it from there. Good. Good for you, Mr. Oliver. Head down, relax, sit still. Good. Very good. Mr. Oliver, because he can be sometimes a little bit of a worrywart, it's important for me to spend a good amount of time just standing here before I go on. So we stand, we relax, we pet, we reward. It's very good things, very important things for his mental capacity, especially at this stage in the game. Alright, now we're going to do it with me actually on the mounting block. Take him away. We're going to walk him just like we did with Leo, straight up to the mounting block. Straight up to it. Good. That's pretty darn good for his first try on the mounting block. That's not bad at all. Like we said, this is the first time that either of these horses, Leo and Oliver, either of these horses have done it. And the reason I say that is because the finished product of this looks really cool, it looks really flashy, and it looks really, oh, that's a difficult trick. This is something easy that all of you can teach and should teach for the benefit of just making it easier to get on your horse. If you're on the trail somewhere and you have to get off your horse for some reason and don't have somewhere convenient to mount up, you can get on a fence, you can get on a big stump, something that makes it easier. This is a really, really cool thing to teach, and it's actually quite simple as long as you are consistent with what you're rewarding. It really is quite simple. Very good for you, Oliver. We're going to do it again. Nothing's more frustrating than going to the mounting block and having your horse move around a lot, or every time you put your foot in the stirrup, he walks away from you or moves his butt away from it. It can be a frustrating experience. So this is a great way to remove that frustration. Good. Good. A bit closer. Right there. Sometimes these horses get a little overzealous. Watch yourself. I've had them push me off the mounting block before, so be careful on your feet, just in case. I've had some where they get so good that they move their body over the mounting block and just kind of shove you right off of it. So they can get a little overzealous sometimes. It happens. Great, Oliver. Good for you. Good job. Especially for bigger horses, large thoroughbreds, draft horses, Friesians, all these bigger guys, they're not used to having people over top of them while you're training a lot of times, especially if you're doing it in hand. So this is a great context to teach them that even though I'm up here over on top of you where you're not used to me being all the time, except for when I'm in the saddle, this is a different context, that we're still working. We can still be relaxed, we can still be controlled. He's starting to back up, so I'm going to ask him forward and to me again. There you go. Good. Just to reaffirm where he needs to be. Good for you, Oliver. Good job. Good job. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. Back it on up. Move it on over. Straighten up my mounting block here. Try not to get bucked off my mounting block. Good. Good for you. Good job. Really good. Okay, so that's the start of teaching it. Now, let's go ahead and move on to how we progress from here. We're not always going to have a mounting block that's against a walled surface. Sometimes it's just a stump in the middle of a field somewhere, and it gets a little bit more difficult. How do we prepare the horse for that kind of situation? Because it can become more difficult as we move away from the wall. And it's very, very simple. It's just that I start to move the mounting block further and further away from the wall. So let's do that a little bit with Oliver here so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so now I'm going to take the mounting block just a little bit away from our surface, or our fence that we would be next to. And we'll leave it angled a little bit, so he has more of an option. He has more chance to get it wrong, and then we'll go ahead and train it again. Okay, so I'm going to walk him straight up to it like we did before. Already he's starting to see that there's an opportunity to go forward here, and his brain's going to think about that because it's a different context. We're going to ask him again. Good. Good. Keep going. Keep going. One more. A little bit closer. Good for you, Mr. Oliver. Great job. So I would go and practice this a few times, being just a couple feet away from my fence, and then I would take it a little bit further. We're going to jump ahead. He did it great. Normally I would do this 3 or 4 or 5 times maybe. We're going to jump ahead. We're going to do it even farther away. We're going to take our mounting block. We're going to come right here in the middle of nowhere. There's no walls, there's no fences, there's nothing to guide him. It's just purely the cue. We're going to see how Mr. Oliver's going to handle it. So right here he wants to move forward. This is where the hand comes comes really handy. Hand comes handy. The hand blocks him from going too far forward. He's going to want to walk around. I'm going to continue to ask him. There he takes the correct step. I reward him. There again, another step. I reward him. Rewarding. Rewarding. Reward again. Reward again. Good. So at first he wanted to walk right on past me because the dressage whip says go forward, so why not naturally go forward? My hand on the halter gave him a little touch that said, no, you can't go any more forward. Eventually he'll become more confirmed in it and he won't even try to go forward. But in the beginning, sometimes it helps to have that hand there. It says, no, you can't go forward. Search for the other answer, and that's bring your hip towards me. So that was really good for Oliver. He was able to figure that out without a lot of stress. Nice and easy, lemon squeezy. Gotta love it. Very good, Oliver. Good job. Okay, think that'll work.